Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of #MakeupTogether, how to make a simple dinner. Tonight I'm feeling a little citrusy, a little fruity, so we're going to give out some new recipes a try. I'm going to be making some honey mustard pork chops. I'm going to be making some ginger lime cauliflower, and then I'm going to be making an apple and beet salad. So I'm going to go ahead and get everything started. It should be fairly simple tonight, but let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on the sauce that I'm going to be putting over the cauliflower. So I have some ginger here. I just cut off a little bit and I'm just going to peel it. And how I do that is just with the knife and kind of go under the skin and just kind of peel it a little bit. So I'm going to add that, and it does not take a lot of ginger at all because one little piece is going to be super potent. So I just got like a little thumb piece. So I'm going to peel that, and I'm going to be using just my Ninja blender for it. So let's go ahead and peel this. So I got that peeled. I'm going to just drop it in there. I'm going to squeeze half a lime. Not all of it though, because I'm going to be using it in other parts of the meal tonight. So we're just going to squeeze out some of it so it's got some little bit in there. And then I'm going to add some olive oil, just a little bit. And then I'm going to be adding a little bit of paprika. And then I'm going to add a little bit of turmeric. And so this is what it looks like at the end of it. And then I'm going to just put this on, and that's going to blend up the ginger into some little pieces, and then we're going to put it on the cauliflower. If we can get it going. So now that I have the sauce made, I'm going to go ahead and take the cauliflower. I'm just going to break this up into the little broccoli-let, I guess that's what you call them, the little cauliflower trees. That's what we'll call it. So I'm just gonna pop that out and cut it up, and I'm just gonna do it on the pan that I'm gonna cook it on. So let me just sprinkle some olive oil on the pan, and then I'm going to break up the cauliflower. I'm just gonna break it up like that and then get to the smaller parts. Kind of break it like that, just rip it. There's no right or wrong way to do it. You just want them to be smaller pieces, or if you want them big, I'm sure this will work. If you're doing cauliflower steaks, I'm sure you could also season them this way as well. Alright, so I have all the cauliflower laid out on the pan. I kind of put everything together in the middle so that way when I pour this on, I don't waste it. So I'm just going to pour it on the top here, the sauce. And that might not look like a lot, but once I spread it around, and that, I mean, I used a pretty big chunk of ginger. So I don't want to put too much on it. So now I'm just going to stir it around the pan and get all of the cauliflower in it. And then I'm going to let these sit for a little bit while I get the pork chops ready. So I'm just going to stir these up and make sure that these are all coated really well. And then we'll get started on the pork chops. So I have them all coated. I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit of salt and pepper to them. So that's what those look like. I hope you can see how yellow they are from the sauce. And so now we're going to go ahead and get started on the pork chops. Alright, so I'm going to make the sauce for the pork chops. I'm going to just add in some olive oil to it. Then I'm going to be adding some honey, of course, for honey mustard. You have to have honey. Alright, I'm going to let this sit out and just get the rest of it all to kind of go in there. I'm going to add a little bit of salt. A little bit of pepper. And if that looked like a lot of salt, the grains are really big and that hole is not. So that's why if it looked like a lot. And I'm also going to be adding some horseradish mustard. I like this one. This one is vinegar, water, mustard seed, salt, horseradish powder, and red pepper. So super simple ingredients. This is just Kroger brand. And then I'm also going to be adding a little bit of paprika.
Mommy?
Yes.
Can I get one more grape?
One more grape and then no more. I'm making food and he asks for food. Alright, so I'm just going to get out all the rest of this honey. I'm probably going to let this sit out for a little bit more upside down because I don't want to waste it. So I'm going to get all of that out. So now that we got that all in there, I'm just going to give it a stir to make sure that all the ingredients incorporate. And then I'm going to just add the pork chops to this mix and let them sit while I get the rest of the stuff going. So you just want to stir it up like so, just to make sure everything's all together. And if you want to add some spice to it, you can. I've made the last couple meals spicy, so I don't want to spice anybody out. So next I'm just going to add the pork chops. Alright, so I have the pork chops in here. I'm going to go ahead and just rub them in the glaze. Seasoning, whatever you want to call it. And so that's all that I have. It's just 2 pork chops. But if you have more, it will definitely work. I just kind of eyeball the amounts of things I put in there. Alright, and then I'm just going to let that sit in there. It's probably only going to sit in there for probably 30 minutes while I get the rest of the stuff going. But if you want to leave it in overnight, that would work as well. So the next thing that I'm going to work on is I'm going to work on the apple beet salad. Pretty much that's all there is to it, just beets and apples. And I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil and lime and seasonings. So how I'm going to do these, and before I start, beets stain like crazy. So I would recommend using a container or a bowl that is not white. Wear an apron because you don't want to get your clothes dirty. And just try to make the space that you're doing it not so big. And I'm actually going to get another cutting board that I'm going to put over here that's plastic. Alright, much better. Because we've actually dyed pants with beet juice. And yeah, it stays in there forever. And I'm going to take out my middle thing because I don't really want that to be beet colored. And so I'm going to use this side. And these have already been washed. The tops have gone off. And I'm just going to grate it. And that's what it looks like, just little slivers. I actually like to eat it like that because I don't really completely love the taste of beets, but they're healthy for you. And when I do them this way, then they're not as strong tasting as the big chunks. But if you like the big chunks, then feel free to make it however you like it. But I'm going to do these and then cut up the apples. And you'll want to kind of put the beets in there as soon as you can, or else everything will be stained red. And also I have my little sponge over here constantly wiping off the counter because I don't want it to look like a murder scene on my counter. So I'm just going to pour those in. I'm only going to do 1 beet because I'm not entirely sure how this is going to taste, and I don't like to waste food. So I'm going to do just 1 beet for now, and then we'll see, because I think that will be enough. So I have 1 beet in here, and then I'm going to wash off my hands first of all, and then we'll get started on the apples. Alright, so my hand mostly came clean. It's still a little pink. So beets are definitely one of those things that you want to get off as soon as possible, or clean off, because you don't want to look pink. Alright, so I'm going to just take my knife, cut up the apple. I'm not going to grate the apple like I did with that, just because of the consistency of the apple. It's not going to come out like that. So I'm just going to kind of slice it julienne style, and then we'll get those. So I'm going to just cut them into each half into 4ths. cut out this little middle piece that's crunchy and nobody likes. And then I'm just going to cut it into like little slivers, but I think I'm gonna do it this way because the beets were smaller. So, and that way, I think with the bigger chunks of apple, it will make the beets not taste so bad. And if you like beets, then you won't have that problem. I'm eating them because they're healthy for me, and I'm trying to find a good way to make them not taste so offensive to my taste buds. So I'm gonna go for bigger chunks of apple. So I'm just gonna cut them like that, so they're about this size, and then I'm going to add those in. All right, so we got all that together. So this is 1 beet and 1 apple. As you can see, it is staining all my apples. So this is the brightest dinner I've ever had. So we got that, and I read that the beets dry out very easily, so I'm going to put them in the refrigerator. And they are very, my apples are very fluorescent now. And so I'm gonna add just a little bit of lime juice to it. And hopefully eating them like this will make me like beets. So that's what we got. And I'm just going to put all of that into the refrigerator while everything else cooks. So we're gonna get started on the pork chops. I'm going to do them in the cast iron skillet on the stove. I'm gonna throw in a little bit of butter and let that melt, and then we will add the pork chops. All right, so we got the butter in there. The pan is nice and hot. I'm gonna go ahead and add the pork chops. And I'm gonna cook them, each of them 4 minutes per side to begin with. And then we'll cook them more after that. I'm just gonna add some of the sauce, and then I'll add more when I flip it back over. We're gonna cook that for 4 minutes on each side. So it's been cooking for, can't turn anything with a fork. So it's been cooking for 4 minutes on this side. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over. All right, there we go. Trying to figure out how to do it so the bone is sitting not in my way. All right, so now I'm gonna cook this for 4 minutes, again on this side. All right, so they've been cooking for an additional 4 minutes on that side, so now I'm going to flip them over, and then I'm going to turn the heat down just a little bit, and I'm going to cook these for about another 7 or 8 more minutes until that internal temperature reaches 160. So the cauliflower has a couple more minutes, but I'm going to go ahead and just kind of flip it around a little bit while it bakes in the oven. And if I didn't say before, I had the oven on 375 for this for 20-25 minutes. So they've been in there for 20. I think I'm going to put them in there for that additional 5. I just wanted to flip them over. So let's get these added in. Alright, well you can still hear the crackling of the pork chops. They are done. Everything is good. It smells delicious. We're going to see about this beet salad. And I'll be completely honest with you, so be sure to check out my Instagram for my review on that. And if you have watched this far, I thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate the support. Yeah, just be sure to check out my Instagram for the final pic of everything. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. And if you have any food that you would like me to make in the future, please let me know. I love feedback, love hearing what you guys want to see. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!